Hey guys, welcome back. Today I've got a spine-chilling tale for you, so grab your blankets and get ready to be terrified. This is Trapped in the Mirror, a terrifying story. The house had been on the market for years. No one wanted it. The Petersons didn't mind. They were desperate for a fresh start after what happened back in Chicago. The neighbours didn't need to know why they'd left. All that mattered was that they were here now, in a beautiful, secluded house surrounded by thick woods. It was a steal, too good to pass up. "Look at this view," Melissa said, standing in the master bedroom. Her voice echoed softly, bouncing off the bare walls. Large windows overlooked the dense, dark trees that seemed to stretch forever. "Yeah," Tom murmured beside her, though his eyes lingered on something else. The mirror. It was a full-length antique monstrosity, its frame made of blackened wood etched with intricate patterns that looked almost like faces. It stood in the far corner of the room, angled just right so that it reflected the window and the endless forest beyond. "Creepy," Tom muttered. "I'll move it to the attic tomorrow." Melissa nodded, but her eyes remained locked on the glass. For just a second she thought she saw something. A shadow. But when she blinked, it was gone. The next day, Tom hauled the mirror to the attic. He struggled with it up the narrow stairs, muttering curses as its weight pressed down on him. "Why didn't we just leave it?" Melissa asked, watching from the bottom of the stairs. "Because," Tom grunted, "the last thing I need is waking up to see my reflection in the middle of the night. No thanks." With a final shove, he pushed it into the attic, propped against the wall. "Done," he announced, wiping his hands. Out of sight, out of mind. But it wasn't. That night, Melissa woke up suddenly, her skin cold and clammy. She glanced at the clock. Tom was snoring softly beside her. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Then she heard it. Like footsteps. Coming from above them. The attic. Melissa's heart pounded. She strained her ears. The sound came again, closer this time, a shuffling noise like something dragging. She nudged Tom. "Tom! Tom, wake up!" "Oomph!" he groaned, rolling over. "Tom, I hear something," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Probably just the house settling," he mumbled, already drifting back to sleep. But Melissa didn't believe that. Her eyes drifted toward the ceiling. This time it was louder. Her stomach clenched. And then her breath caught. "Eee!" But it wasn't at the door. It was coming from the attic. "Tom!" she hissed, shaking him harder. All right," he grumbled, sitting up groggily. But before he could say anything else, they both heard it. More urgent now. Tom's eyes widened. "Stay here," he whispered. "No," Melissa whispered back, her voice barely audible. "Don't go." But he was already out of bed, grabbing the baseball bat he kept under the bed, just in case. He climbed the attic stairs, each creak echoing like a gunshot in the silent house. Melissa stayed at the bottom, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure whoever or whatever was up there could hear it. Tom pushed the attic door open. "Hello?" Tom's voice echoed, but there was no response. He flicked on the light. The attic was empty, except for the mirror. It stood exactly where he'd left it, leaning against the wall. "Nothing up here," Tom called down, but his voice sounded off. Melissa exhaled, a shaky breath of relief. "Come back down," she urged. Tom turned to leave, but something made him stop. He glanced at the mirror and froze. His reflection, it wasn't moving. "Mel?" His voice was barely a whisper. "What?" she called softly. But Tom didn't answer. Because his reflection... Tom didn't come back down. Melissa waited at the foot of the stairs, calling his name over and over. "Tom?" Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She climbed the stairs, her hands trembling. Tom? She stepped into the attic. It was empty. Her heart pounded painfully in her chest. The mirror stood where it always had, but now it showed figures. Herself and Tom. But Tom wasn't standing beside her. He was the mirror, his eyes wide with terror, his mouth open in a silent scream. Tom! Melissa stumbled forward, but her reflection didn't move. Only his did. Help me! His lips mouthed. A cold, bony hand suddenly brushed against Melissa's shoulder. She spun around. But when she turned back, her reflection was smiling. And it wasn't her anymore. No one ever found the Petersons. But sometimes, if you're in the woods near that old house, you might catch a glimpse of them, reflected in the glass. And if you stare too long, you might see someone standing right behind you. But by then, it's already too late. Sleep tight.